Nice. Howdy doody. So, recently things have not been going great. I feel like I have just been bored and tired and frustrated of doing the thing. It's not like I'm burnt out or getting tired of my job exactly. It's just that I feel like I'm tired of iterating on the same few ideas, and I knew that I needed a change. For the last couple months, I've been working on a couple really major client projects, and after the offer for the last project came in, I knew that I had to do something different here if I was gonna make it through yet another major project and keep my own sanity. So, I built a nightmare box, and boy am I glad that I did. I think that what makes a great video is simply having a very clear and strong why element. So why do I want to tell you how to build a nightmare box in this video? I think it's really because it's about learning to extend your mediums as a creator and the value in that. And it really all starts right here with just a few scrap parts and a couple of tools. Originally for this project, I thought about getting an apprehension engine. They're incredibly cool and have been used on some extremely high-profile games and films. Basically, the apprehension engine is a performance instrument designed to create lots of interesting tones and textures and stuff that work great for tense genres like action or horror or anything creepy and crawly. Ambition in hand, I hopped onto the internet box and quickly found my hopes to be destroyed because to get the real thing, you're gonna have to cough up about $10,000. Unfortunately, your boy Mustacherino here does not have YouTuber money. I have musician money, so $10,000 was definitely out of the question here. But I thought the apprehension engine is basically just a box with some things that make noise attached, and f it, I could build that. So I thought it would be a fun project, I could do it in maybe about an afternoon, and even if it doesn't work out, I might accidentally have a bit of fun, which is something I've desperately needed lately. After doing quite a bit of research online about the apprehension engine and some DIY builds, I sketched out a basic concept for my own version of the apprehension engine. I needed some kind of wooden box, some metal objects that could vibrate or be bowed or hit, some springs, a way to get the sound out of the box into my audio interface because the raw sound would probably be pretty blah and unusable, and that's pretty much it. I headed out to a local hardware store and I grabbed up a bunch of springs and hooks, some scrap wood, metal dowel rods, and a box of wood screws. After that, I popped around town to a few craft stores to find a suitable wooden box. This was actually harder than I expected because finding a box that was large enough to work for the build while also being thin enough to transmit the vibration effectively took a little bit of digging. If I had to do this again, I would probably go to like a local liquor store and ask if they have any boxes that they ship wine bottles in, because I feel like that might have worked a bit better. Finally, I had to make sure I had a way to record it, so I went on Amazon and got some piezo pickups that capture the sound of the box directly. You've probably seen these used, or maybe you've used them yourself, on acoustic instruments like guitars or violins or things like that, and they're more commonly known as contact microphones. The beauty of these is that we can stick them to literally any surface and record the sounds of the vibration. I wasn't actually sure if the size of the piezo mattered, but I figured bigger piezo elements would probably pick up more bass frequencies, maybe, so I just got the biggest ones I could find. In total, all the parts for this project cost me a whopping $51.37, and I didn't get a ton of footage of the building process, mostly because I was just enjoying myself and having fun, but I did want to share some things I learned throughout that build process if I was to maybe attempt this again. First off, the springs provide quite a bit of tension depending on the thickness of the spring. So to make sure they didn't snap the box into shreds, I reinforced most of the springs with a piece of scrap wood underneath the soundboard. I just held the scrap underneath, shot some screws in, and away I went. To sink the screw hooks into place to hold the springs, I drilled some quick pilot holes through the soundboard into the scrap wood. This also made it easier to make sure I was providing enough tension on the spring and not just sinking things in randomly and hoping it would work. The dowel rod was probably the trickiest part. After a few experiments on a piece of scrap wood, I figured the best way to get the dowel rods to work would be to drill them into a thick piece of wood, then stick that onto the soundboard as tightly as I could to transmit as much vibration as possible. Once I had the pilot holes drilled, I tapped the rods into place with a hammer and then screwed the wood block onto the soundboard. So now comes the fun part, the pickups. Piezo pickups are really cool because of how simple they are. You plop them onto something, and if that thing vibrates, they pass the vibration to the output. The ones I bought were pre-wired elements from Amazon, and they have a pickup, a volume knob, and an output jack. So I took the seal from the elements and stuck them where I felt like it would make sense to capture the most interesting vibrations, drilled some holes on the side of the box for the knobs and the outputs, and it was done. The outputs are actually just standard 1/4-inch outputs, so I can use any 1/4-inch instrument cable to connect the box to my audio interface, and there's no weird wiring or specific stuff that needs to be done. You literally just plug it in and play. Considering that the whole process took me maybe an hour to do and it doesn't really require any special tools or knowledge to build, I think this is a really fun project that you should definitely try, either by yourself or maybe as an activity with a friend or your kids or whoever, because if all else fails, you get a little bit of fun, and if it goes right, you get a really weird, unique, one-of-a-kind instrument to make some cool sounds with. So let's check out how mine turned out. This actually sounds pretty cool, but I think it might sound better with a bit of reverb and delay. I had a lot of fun with this project, and I actually sampled out a bunch of sounds from this and wrapped them up as a decent sampler instrument, which you can get down in the description below if you want these sounds. And if you're a patron, you can get them for free. This was a really cool project, and I learned a lot about the value of being willing to just get out of your comfort zone and appreciate the idea of extending your mediums as a creator. I never thought I'd be able to say I built my own instrument, if you could really call it that, but now I have, and I can say that, and that's kind of cool, and it wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. So I guess whenever things aren't working out for you, sometimes it's a matter of accepting the idea of switching gears and stretching out the old creative noodle. Sometimes a weird project is all that you need, and sometimes those weird ideas are where the most interesting results come from. So with that, go forward with your springs and things, and f*** your dreams. Go out and make some nightmares.